Paco beats the crap out of Ningbo in this chapter. This chapter is pretty cool. So first thing, dude, I know I am like insanely late to this. Dude, work has been driving me crazy. I'm getting worked more than a dwarf in a coal mine right now. It's like I haven't even had time to read this chapter until now. But anyways, sorry. So this picks off immediately after the last chapter where Paco surprise attacks Ningbo from above, and we see Paco literally take Ningbo's head, take his helmet, rip his helmet off a little bit, and punches him in the fucking face. More so like directly in his mouth. You can see like Ningbo's teeth coming out. Paco absolutely wallops this dude's mouth. So Paco surprise attacks Ningbo. Ningbo swirls around and starts firing his gun. He's missing. Next, Paco, what I thought at first looks like cracks his freaking neck, but he like takes his hand and then does a karate chop to his throat or something. And it basically, I guess he's trying to knock Ningbo out. And he throws Ningbo to the side, and he's crashing onto these tables and computers and all this other stuff. So La Blanc, who just watched this unfold in probably a matter of a couple seconds, she points her gun at Paco, and then immediately Usagi from the distance in a random doorway starts firing at her to protect Paco, and it forces La Blanc to flee into the hatch in the ground that's holding Lulu-chan and then the bank guy, I forget his name. So Usagi comes over and he says, she fled into the basement and that asshole shut the door behind her. Plus, she's barricading the door from inside somehow. Yakioma is sleeping down there, and that woman's got a gun and a phone on her. She's gonna contact Howler while Dragana and the others are on the super yacht with him. She'll probably tell him where Lulu-chan is too. And that's when Aunt Meryl May goes, no, I don't think they will. They won't contact him. Paco just kind of glances over and she says, that policewoman, I think she said her name was Lam Shablang. This whole time I've been saying La Shablang, but it's like La Shabang. La Shabong? It's La Shabong. Now, I keep saying La Shablang with an extra L for some reason. I don't know why. I want to still keep saying it like that. I'm sure she's down there trying to figure out her next move, but she won't be reporting what she's learned to Howler. And this cuts down back to La Shablang, who's down in this bunker with Lulu-chan. And then Lulu-chan is just kind of just eating chips, doesn't really care about what's going on. And then she says, what is this place? Well, him, I know that's the bank employee. I believe his name is Yokohama. And it cuts back to Aunt Meryl May. I was left with no other choice. So I told the policewoman about how we're going after Howler's $50 billion of assets. But because of that, I know she won't contact him about what's being seen in the basement. These are corrupt cops, motivated by bribes. They have no loyalty to Howler, no friendship either, and certainly no sense of justice toward society. They see the number of digits in their pay as a measure of their capabilities. When weighing her duty against her greed, the policewoman will have to put her trust in that $50 billion, so she won't contact Howler immediately. And then she continues on, that Ningbo guy up there has been acting on the woman's orders, but we need to make sure he's beaten so he can't keep fighting. He's a real whack job and definitely after money, but part of him also wants to avenge Agent Bobby Jean. And we see Paco looking at his hand that he used to karate chop fucking Ningbo's neck, and you can see that he's already being inflicted by Ningbo's stand ability, and it's starting to like inflate his hand a little bit like a balloon. This cuts back to La Blanc. What's going on here? This doesn't make any sense. According to this morning's records, Yokohama arrived at work as expected this morning. Yet, here he is, and it looks like he was in quite an accident. There's nothing to indicate he's gone missing or that his family has reported him missing. And then Lulu-chan chimes in, hey, miss, I love the look of your hairstyle, which is pretty interesting because La Blanc has like no hair at all besides like a ponytail. Do you have a boyfriend or whatever? What's wrong? Hurry up and get me out of here already. Are you gonna call Howler? And then La Blanc says, hey brat, don't start acting all smart on me. I've got a lot of questions to ask you. And by the way, no, I don't have a boyfriend. They're always quick to lie. And you'd best make sure you don't. Listen, Lulu-chan, there's a reason this place is under surveillance. You received instructions from Howler that we don't know about, right? I'm quite sure of that. And you were given special orders to find something, yes? So did you find that something? So we can start to see La Blanc and start interrogating Lulu-chan now using her nematodes. Again, we still don't know if this is her stand ability or just some random friendship she has with random ass fucking nematodes. But she can tell if Lulu-chan is lying or not by her nematodes. So this cuts back to the super yacht that it currently has JODIO, Dragana, Charming Man, who is disguised as Yokohama-san, which was that bank employee who was down in that bunker with Lulu-chan, and of course Howler and Key West. So we can see many boats are approaching this yacht here. We got police, firefighters, the whole 9 yards, and they're starting to infiltrate this yacht. We can kind of see Howler getting really stressed out about the current situation here. Key West comes over to Howler-san and says, "Howler-san, you need to get off the ship immediately. The actual fire on the ship doesn't seem like it will pose a huge problem, but in addition to firefighters, a number of government agencies and military personnel have aborted the ship, and they're heading towards this cabin. We can't hope to stop them at this point." And then we could see JODIO whispering to Charming Man, "We just need to give Howler one more push. No matter what he says, you don't answer. Just be quiet and stare at his face. All we're doing now is waiting for him to sign the paper. We need him to say himself that he wants to sign." Howler-san speaks up. He says, "For generations, the Howler's family's land has been on Hawaii and Hawaii alone. $50 billion? You're telling me that your land is the equivalent exchange for that? That dirty piece of crap land you've got? Go fuck yourself. You think you can just insult me like this? If you think I'm citing that, you're out of your goddamn mind." So as he's saying this, Dragana, JODIO, and Charming Man, who's obviously disguised as the bank employee, they're just staring at him, and they just are pressuring him to sign this paper. And as he's saying this, they can hear like thumps and movement on the ship of all this government personnel that's on the yacht. And then Charming Man slides the paper in front of Howler-san. So if you're not really caught up to speed on exactly what's happening here, they're trying to take Howler-san's $50 billion in assets. JODIO, Dragana, and Charming Man are on this boat basically to force Howler to sign over his $50 billion worth of assets to this bank. Now, he's not actually signing it over to a bank. He doesn't know that. Charming Man is disguised using his stand ability to be a bank employee. But if Howler signs this paper, he's basically giving up $50 billion to JODIO, Dragana, Charming Man, Paco, Aunt Meryl May, Usagi, the whole team, and they would all be getting that money, not a bank. So they are basically completely trying to screw over Howler in this whole situation, but he doesn't know that. He thinks the bank is coming to take his land, basically. And then Howler continues, "Key West, do something! What the hell do I even pay you for?" And the Key West responds, "I'll try talking to them, but you need to get off this ship now, Howler. There's no stopping a government authority. They'll come to us with an executive order from the president next. That's where this is going." And Howler says, "Is it you, Key West? You're not the one who brought it in here, are you?" And then Key West is kind of appalled about what he's even saying here. And she goes, "I honestly haven't the slightest idea of what you're referring to. What is this quote-unquote it you keep mentioning?" This cuts to an internal monologue with Howler, and he says, "Damn it. Of course I can't just say it, but someone somehow sure as shit has one. They have it. I know it." Then we can see that JODIO still has the lava rock in his pocket, and then this cuts to Key West. She gets a notification on her phone, and she looks at her phone, and it's a message from La Chablanc, and it says, "I love you. Let's meet up real soon, okay? Make sure Howler doesn't see this. Gotcha? I'm only telling you this. Key-tan." I guess that's her fucking nickname or something. I don't know. And with this text message La Chablanc sent, there's also an attachment file to it. And then Key West opens the file, and it is a picture of Yokohama-san in the bunker that's currently hospitalized. Now, as you can imagine, Key West realizes something's not adding up here. If that is Yokohama-san all fucked up, then who is this guy over here? So immediately, this information being known by Key West is kind of huge. She immediately realizes there is something going on here. Something's not adding up. And she continues reading. "According to Lulu-chan, Howler is looking for a rock, and that rock has some connection with Howler's entire fortune, which is $50 billion. Howler is looking for some sort of lava rock." And the Key West says, "This sick patient in the photo, isn't that Yokohama?" So then we cut back to Paco, Aunt Meryl May, and Usagi. We could see Paco's arm, we could see Paco's hand that he used to touch Ningbo is starting to bubble up more. And Aunt Meryl May, she chimes in, she says, Paco, that man Ningbo, he's a stand user. So long as he's still breathing, he's dangerous. He can make anything that he touches him swell up like a balloon. Be careful. So right after she says this, we can see Ningbo get up from getting walloped by Paco. And immediately we start to get this awesome fight scene. So he gets up. Paco says, you sure have got your eyes glued on that what's behind me, huh? You want that automatic rifle, don't you? Ningbo lunges to reach for Paco's leg, but the Paco, he jumps out of the way. And then I don't know how the hell he even did this. I don't know if he's using to hustle his stand in any sort of way. But when he jumps in the air, he brings the gun behind him in the air with him. Does this like maneuver where he grabs it from behind him, like twirls around and fucking wallops Ningbo's face in with the gun. This breaks his helmet that's on his head, revealing Ningbo's ugly ass head and face. He's getting fucked up. And then Paco swerves the gun around and starts firing into Ningbo's head. But from what I understand what's going on here, when the bullets are touching Ningbo, they're immediately inflating like a balloon, dealing no damage to him whatsoever. Usagi and Aunt Meryl May are watching as this entire thing unfolds. All the bullets are swelling up like balloons, not dealing any damage to him, and then Ningbo grabs the barrel of the gun, the silencer part, and the gun starts inflating like a balloon, completely jamming it. Then the gun pops like a balloon, and then Ningbo swerves around and touches Paco's right hand. And then when Ningbo touches Paco's right hand, we can immediately see Paco's hand start swelling up really bad. Paco watches his hand as it literally pops like a balloon, and his fingers start falling off his hand onto the ground. His hand literally pops open, and he lost like 2 or 3 fingers. Paco is kind of completely unfazed by this. He just lost like half his hand, and he just doesn't care. Now, I know Paco is like, we still don't know anything about Paco's backstory other than he was in the military at some point, and he was dishonorably discharged. So we don't know what made him such a fucking badass, but he just doesn't give a fuck. His hand is fucked, and he just doesn't care. He says, Usagi, pick up those and put them in a cup of ice. Make sure it's a different cup from Meryl May's. We don't want the doctors mixing them up later on. And then immediately after losing like 3 of his fingers, he goes back into a fighting stance, and then the fight continues. Ningbo tries punching Paco, but Paco seems to be dodging them all like Matrix style somehow. And then Paco takes his elbow and jams it into his mouth. Dude, Ningbo's face, like his mouth, is getting more fucked than fucking Violet Myers, bro. Dude, for some reason, he keeps targeting Ningbo's mouth. More teeth are falling out of his head. And then Paco takes his fist, basically shoves it in his stomach, and then takes his knee and then bashes Ningbo's head into his knee. Ningbo is getting absolutely like packed up and sent home. Paco just kind of ultimately beats the living crap out of this dude. This guy does not stand a chance. And then Ningbo basically falls on the ground. He's all beat up. He's bleeding everywhere. He is fucked up bad. But Ningbo, he falls on the ground and he touches the wall behind him. As he's laying on the ground, Ningbo touches the wall behind him, which blows up like a balloon, and then it pops, sending debris of the wall, like rocks and shit, into Paco's face, blinding him for a second. And in that moment, Ningbo grabs Paco's wrist with one hand, and then Ningbo takes his other hand and then grabs Paco's neck, and immediately Paco's neck starts swelling up like a balloon. So that is unfortunately the end of this chapter, where this leaves off as like a little bit of a cliffhanger. As you can see, what happens when Ningbo touches something, it swells up like a balloon and fucking pops. Paco literally just lost 3 of his fingers to that. His other hand is already almost about to pop, and then Ningbo just grabbed Paco's neck. If Paco's neck pops, that dude is kaput. He is dead. So, I don't know how the living fuck they're gonna get out of this situation, but that is like JoJo, like, dude, that is, every chapter ends with like, how the actual hell are they gonna get out of this situation, and then somehow they do. Like, I don't know if y'all remember with that chapter where Charming Man stabs Dragana in the neck and she falls on the ground. And then I was like, how is she going to survive that? She's literally dying. And then she somehow uses smooth operators to take that injury and put it onto a bottle, and she survives. So my favorite part of this chapter, obviously, is watching Paco absolutely ragdoll Ningbo, but Ningbo, with his stand ability, is still a pretty decent threat, all things considered. But also, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen now with Key West and Howler, with Dragana, JODIO, and Charming Man. Now that Key West has realized that the Yokohama that they're talking to is not the real one. So again, I don't know how Dragana, JODIO, and Charming Man are going to get out of that situation either. And this is also, to my knowledge, the first time we've seen Aunt Meryl May acknowledge the existence of stand users and stand abilities. Now, I think it's pretty obvious we could assume that she already knew about this, considering all of her kids, like JODIO, Dragana, Charming Man, Usagi, Paco, they're all stand users. So it's pretty obvious. We still don't know if she herself is a stand user yet, or she is just a normal person that is just aware of the existence of stands and stand users. I kind of hope she is a stand user, because I know for a fact this chick probably has a broken ass stand and I really want to see it. I bet it's kind of cool. Anyways, that is it for this chapter. Honestly, really cool action-packed chapter. I know I'm insanely late. Dude, there's just been so much going on. It has not been, it's, you know, life and stuff, but, you know, at least I'm not fucking Howler getting scammed out of 50 billion. Well, I mean, that guy's a loser anyway. But, I will hopefully not be so late the next chapter. But thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Earlier. Bye-bye.